So what happened was this created a compound effect. And what I kind of also call it is like a snowball effect. Like if you have a tiny snowball and you keep adding snow to the snowball and you keep rolling it, it becomes bigger and bigger. Same thing with your business. As you continue to do the trainings and the content and you keep selling, more people will just continue to buy because you just keep nurturing your audience, right? So in reality, to get to like 10,000 to 100,000, it's not necessarily even something. Welcome back to 0 to 10K, the 25-part series on how to make $10,000. And we are on the final day 25 of this series. And today we are going to talk about how to not just make $10,000 once or twice, but how to do it consistently and how to actually scale your business to 6 figures. Now, I just want to say, I want to start off by this video by saying, if you have watched all of the videos up until today, comment below and just let me know and just pat yourself on the back, because that is just so amazing that you've showed up. You've watched the videos, you've took action, committed to yourself, and heck, if you're just finding this video for the first time, you don't even know about this series, still comment below and let me know, because today it's a really good day. It's a really fun day because we are talking about how to make like 6 figures in your life. Now, before I get into how to actually do that, I just want to quickly share and tell you guys that when I had the first goal of making $10,000, I always had the vision of wanting to make like 6 figures, wanting to have a 6-figure income. But to be honest, I never really thought that I'd be able to do it as fast as I actually did, because I think I made my first 6 figures when I was like 22 years old, I want to say. And that was only like a few years after I graduated college, only like honestly like 1 year after I graduated college, right? So for all of you that are watching, I want to start off by saying it is so possible for you. Like it is so possible for you to not just make $10,000, but for you to build like a real business with your personal brand, with the product that you created, to have like a real 6-figure income. So I don't want this to just be like another video that you watch on YouTube and maybe you save and you're like, okay, another person telling me I can do it. But I really want you to like take it to heart and go back and watch like all of the videos that I did on this series again, even if you watch them once, because as we know, repetition actually builds like results and consistency. But I want to get into what I actually did to go from, once again, like when I had my first $10,000 a month, to duplicating that, and then of course scaling to actually having my first $50,000 a month, and then making 6 figures in my business, and now multi 6 figures. So the first thing I want to talk about, which is actually the first portion that we did in the series, part 1 of the money system, is actually the mindset. Okay, now of course we already like dove so deep into mindset in this entire series, but I want to say getting from like $10,000 to $100,000 in your business, yes, of course, it's like strategy and refinement, which is what we're going to get into here in a little bit. But more than anything, it's the mindset to actually get there. Like I always say, if you can even make $1 online on social media, if you can make $1,000, if you can make $10,000 on social media, you're basically doing the same thing over and over again to get to $100,000. So more than anything, like if you can do it once, you can do it multiple times, and you can do it where you get to $100,000. So for me, when I first hit $10,000, now it was like, okay, like I've done the $10,000 mark. Now it's like $100,000. So same thing that we kind of did in part 1 of this series, I went back and I kind of did the same thing again. I'm like, okay, who do I need to be in order to get to $100,000? How does she dress? How does she act? How does she think? What are the actions that she takes? How does like my day look? How does my routine look? I did honestly the same thing over again. So to be honest, you guys can use this series over and over and over again for honestly any milestone that you want to have in your business with your personal brand and money. But like mindset is the most important thing, which is why that is like number 1 of this like system to get to like $10,000 to $100,000 in your business. It's mindset. Now, the second piece of this is consistency. There might be some people that are watching this video and you're like, okay, like I've done the posting, I've done the mindset work, and I did it for like a month, or maybe you even do it for like a few weeks, or maybe even for a few months, and you're like, okay, like I'm not seeing the results that I want to. I just want to say, the results that you want, it comes from consistency, and it also comes from self-awareness of where you're at right now. if you are literally just starting out, you've never posted online, you don't even have like a brand or an audience, like it's definitely possible. It is very possible for you to make $10,000 in a month, and it's very possible for you to build a huge audience in a month. Like anybody can do it. However, the fact that you're just starting and you need to shift certain things in your mindset and in your lifestyle, it might not happen right away, right? So that is why consistency is so important. Like if you put so much effort and you stay consistent for a few weeks and then you fall off for a few weeks and then you do it again, it's like the people on the other side of the screen, the people that are following you, they're not going to see you as an authority. They're not going to see you as a leader. Every single personal brand that we follow, we look up to, we love to watch, they're consistent. We wait for their videos every single day. And how I know this is because I do it for myself, but I also have people that I follow, especially on TikTok every single day, like just entertainers, like creators, influencers, that I cannot wait for their videos. And it is because they're consistent, and that is why they've built a personal brand. And we did a full video on consistency in this series. So if that's something that you struggle with, go back and watch that video. But like it really does come down to consistency, because from consistency, the third portion of scaling to $100,000 is what I call the compound effect. Okay. So yesterday we talked about like my social media sales strategy that got me to my first $10,000, which is basically I create content, I hold master classes, I invite people, I make sales. Now there's something called the compound effect that happens over time as you stay consistent with your business. So for an example, let's say you post content every single day for a month. Now on day one of you posting content, you might get a new follower and they might start to like binge and, you know, watch your content. Now they might not be ready to buy right away, which is fine. That happens all the time to people. However, as you stay consistent in posting content, they might be ready to buy on day 15 or day 30 or day 60. However, if you stop posting in between day 1 and day 60, they might not ever buy because you're actually not posting to nurture them and get them to like get them over the edge to actually buy. Right? Same thing with master classes. And this is something that I actually used to track in my business. I don't do that anymore because I just didn't really like it. Whatever, it's too controlling. I have a much different business model now, but I actually used to track how many people would show up to my master classes, to how many people would convert. And then I would do the same masterclass like 2 weeks later, a month later, look at the numbers and see the conversion. Now, the thing was, I noticed I had multiple people joining my masterclasses that would be like the same people. Like I had the same people join the first masterclass I do, the second one, the third one, even if like they did not buy, like they would keep joining the masterclass. Now, what I found was over time, after I continued to do the masterclasses over a few months, the people that joined in like day 1, they would then join in like month 2 or month 3. So what happened was, as I grew my audience over time, I had new people joining in. And they would buy right away because I also got better at my craft. I got better at marketing. I got better at selling. And I got better at like activating and inspiring my audience. Over time, the people that started with me on day 1, they would start to join my offers in like month 2 and month 3. So what happened was this created a compound effect. And what I kind of also call it is like a snowball effect. Like if you have a tiny snowball and you keep adding snow to the snowball and you keep rolling it, it becomes bigger and bigger. Same thing with your business. As you continue to do the trainings and the content and you keep selling, more people will just continue to buy because you just keep nurturing your audience, right? So in reality, to get to like 10,000 to 100,000, it's not necessarily even something new or different you're doing. It's basically the same thing over and over and over again, right? Now, like the last piece of this, of course, like you have to have the mindset, you have to stay consistent, the compound effect happens, but the last piece of this is like the refinement of what you're doing, right? And this is kind of where people kind of get stuck because they are doing this strategy and they're doing it over and over again, but it's not working the way they want it to. And that is where people will either like just completely stop, they'll give up, they'll throw in the towel, or they'll change their entire business model. They'll start a new business, they'll try a different strategy, but what they didn't do is actually refine and see what they can tweak and adjust to make it better. Okay. So one thing that I did in the beginning when I first was doing these like master classes, my content, what I realized was I was focusing way too much on like the strategy and like the education of what I was actually teaching. So I was spending way too much time talking about like the real tangible things people can do to build a personal brand on social media. What I realized was I was giving away almost too much information where it was too overwhelming for people, right? So what I started to do was really just paint the picture of what they can do overall to give them like a general idea of how to get from point A to point Z. And then it was much easier for them to see like the connection of me, my products, my services, and how that could actually help them get to the next level, right? So for me, if I never actually slowed down and realized that I had to refine what I was doing, I would have been just jumping around in my business and I would have never made six figures, now multi six figures in my business, right? So like the last part of this is really refining and having the awareness that you need to refine what you're doing. Like it's not about a new strategy. It's not about a different strategy. That does not mean you can do a new or different strategy, but it's like if you continue to pour like gas on like a fire that you've created, it's just gonna get like bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you pour like water on it and then you try to start another fire and try to start like another fire, then you're always going to try to like start different fires, but you're never gonna have a big one, right? So that's kind of like the same thing once again with like business. And when it comes to scaling to six figures, you want to be so self-aware that this is not about like a whole different strategy that's like randomly going to get you six figures. It is about the mindset. It is about the consistency. It's about the compound effect, and it's about the refinement of it all. And honestly, I'm laughing because you might be watching this video and some of you might be like, oh, like I thought she's going to share this like revolutionary strategy. But to be honest, this is something that people usually don't share. Like they'll share something that's like sexy and something that's like new and exciting, and then they'll be like, oh, like this is the only way for you to like make $100,000. But in reality, after being in business for so long, after mentoring and learning from so many people, this is like the secret sauce. This is how you're actually going to build a business that makes you money and like sustainable money. It's about the consistency. It's about the mindset. It's about the compound effect. It's about refinement. And as you like commit to it, it's going to become so much like simpler and easier for you. Now, when I look at my content, now when I look at my business and it's not working the way I wanted to, or I want to get to another level, I can look at it and make tweaks and adjustments, and like it's easy for me to do. Like I don't have to sit there for like days or weeks trying to figure it out. And that's also why like I always recommend having like a mentor, a community, a support group, so you can also get like advice and feedback on where you're at in your business. Like I cannot imagine my business, I cannot imagine the life that I've created without the support from like coaches and mentors. And that's also why I've mentioned like monetize social membership so much within this series, because it really is like such a tight-knit community, and it is the only space where I literally give you step by step every single thing you need to know to build a personal brand on social media that makes you money. Like everything that I shared in this 25-part series, like I already gave you guys a lot to get started. Like to be honest, you can make thousands of dollars from what I shared in this series. But if you guys have questions, you need support, you need more details, and you need like the refinement, and you need to get more clarity within everything that I shared, like that's what monetize social membership is about. And like the calls that you get with me, we do group calls where people can come on, ask me questions. Like I have had clients come on there struggling with their business, not making any money. I give them advice, and then like a few days later on the weekend, they'll make like $4,000. They'll come back on that call, or they'll report to the group and be like, oh my gosh, this actually worked. Right? So it's like this community, this membership, it's definitely for you if you're committed in building a business, you're committed in doing the work, you really see yourself having this brand that doesn't just make you money, but you're actually impacting a lot of people, right? So you can join Monetize Social Membership in the description below. It's $97 a month to join. You can cancel at any time. There's like no restrictions on it. So if you've loved this series and you're like, okay, I just like need more support, I want more support, I want to stay plugged into this energy, you need to be in that community. Okay, so that is all for today, and that is all for the 25-part series. Once again, what I want to say is thank you guys so much for being here, for following, for subscribing, for commenting, for taking action. And what I want you guys to comment and share is what has been like the number one takeaway that you really got from this series, or like the multiple takeaways that you got. And I also want you guys to comment below and let me know what you have done throughout this series. If you did like start the social media, if you did start creating content, if you did make $10,000, if you even signed on your first client, or maybe like a week or two after, or like a few months later after like you watch this video, come back and let me know in the comments if you applied what you learned and you built like a 6-figure business. Like, I always love to see your guys' comments, because once again, it motivates me, it inspires me to keep going and creating like these videos just like this. And also, I will say before I wrap up today's video, if this like series blows up, if this video blows up and I get a lot of comments, if I get 100 comments on this video saying to do another series in depth and in detail of how to build a 6-figure business, because once again, there's so much more that goes into a 6-figure business, I will do that series, but only if I get 100 comments. If I do, I will create that series for all of you. Okay, so that is all for today, and that is all for this series. I still create so many videos here on YouTube, so let me know what you want to see next. And until next time, make sure that you guys stay unforgettable.